It is plus 35 and the sun is beating down so hard, it's ridiculous. Today is Sunday, May 6th, and we're just getting off church. I will be taking a bus and showing you around Singapore, and these are different sides that a lot of tourists don't get to see, but you get to see them because you're with me. And I will be talking over this video just because right now I'm on a bus and I'm fast forwarding a few of these shots. So let's get started. Number one thing you'll notice about Singapore is its greenery. I love this building so much. Every time I pass by it, I take a picture of their amazing balcony. And here we're headed towards Chinatown, but my bus will be turning right. But if you were to go straight, it's Chinatown, and it's one of the most beautiful areas of Singapore. I love it so much. And they have a lot of these colonial buildings because the British came back in the day, you know, during the colonization times, and Singapore was actually part of Malaysia, but what they decided to do was the Singaporean government took the Singapore area, which is across the bridge from Malaysia, and they turned it into a tax-free, or what do you call it? The free trade. So it became a free trade city, and that's why they have all this wealth. So occasionally, like, I would get on a different bus, especially the double-decker buses, for the sake of seeing different places. Now you'll notice on this they have the bus number and all the buses that come there. Singapore doesn't have the same thing that we have in Edmonton with like streets and avenues. Instead, they have names on their streets. So it's really cool that when you look at a bus schedule, it shows the apartment that is in front of the building rather than the road, you know, the road sign or whatever. So for instance, if I'm on my bus and I have to get off on like Jalang Avenue or whatever, it would have the name of whatever building that's in front of that bus. So if I was getting off on 109th Street in Jasper Ave, it would just have the name of the building that's exactly on 109 in Jasper, which we could either pick the Central Social Hall, so that would be the name of that stop. I think it's pretty cool because a lot of apartments get like a shout out on the bus schedule. It's whatever. Singapore does a great job on keeping its city clean and green. They have a standard they have standard road signs just like what we have at home. It is a first world country, so there are many similarities in not only construction, but you know, it is a first world country, so there are no comparisons in that aspect. But I do like their roads, how they have the entry where the bus stop is, and you see where it's yellow where there's an arrow. A lot of times it's a huge X, which means cars can't stop there if it's a red light, so that they let the bus exit. And it's a really cool idea because with overpopulation or mass population, you want to be able to control that the buses aren't getting stuck in the middle of traffic. The other thing I really like, and that I noticed with the difference between our roads in Edmonton versus Singapore, the arrows that come at the end have their own timing. So you never really freak out thinking you're gonna get hit, because the way that they're timed, they give you a full stop before the cars can go, and it's quite safe. As you would notice here, we're at a full stop, but yes, it could be open for you to go, but you don't have to. And again, you see with the red arrow, you actually, for this road, you can't go, but majority of the time they do let you go. But at the very end, it will come to a full stop, and then the arrow will turn so that you can safely proceed. It's amazing, and I think it's why they have less accidents here, just because of good control, you know. And because Singapore was colonized and found by the British, a lot of the names of streets and hospital, like a lot of names are of the English descendants from, you know, the royal family. So it's the same as Canada. I had to take out my camera for this place because it reminded me of some wall in London and it looked identical. So I was like, oh my gosh, and I'm on a double-decker bus. It looks the same. I really like that road. But yeah, really cool. So let's talk about these overpasses and some of them lead into apartment blocks. Oh, there's IKEA. So like they have a lot of them. Oh my god, guys. I'm going to insert the name of these buildings, but you have to see the aerial shot of them. It's the craziest thing ever. When I first saw them, it was an Instagram post like 3 years ago, and I was like, where the heck is that? And that's before I even had knowledge of like what's around Singapore besides the Marina Bay. And now that I know it and we passed by and I saw it, and I was just so excited to see that they're real, like they exist. Like there are so many of them. Like, I don't know. I'm in awe of the architecture, and I thought it was a really cool thing. But anyway, those sheltered sidewalks that Singapore has, because it rains a lot and it's always sunny. It's amazing that the city decided to build a bunch of them, and they do help. Like on rainy days, you're just walking, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have an umbrella, but you don't have to worry because majority of the areas do have them, especially like bus stops and apartments and tower. I was taken back by how, if you look at the pillars on this bridge and then you look at the ratio of the road versus the pillar, how the heck is it being held up? Just a thought. If a lot of you can remember back in like the 6th grade when you learn about the spice trade, fast forward like now living in Singapore and knowing about its port and why it's one of the busiest ports in the world, it's just crazy. Like I went to that park just to see all the boats and even flying in and seeing all the boats that are coming in. It's ridiculous. Just look up the Sea of Malacca and you'll be in for a surprise. But yeah, this other place, Howla Bar Park, whatever, I'm gonna go here to explore. So stay tuned for a video because apparently it's one of like the craziest places to visit in Singapore. And it's one of its kind. But here we're pulling up to a suburb, and because Singapore has a lot of towers and buildings and apartments, a lot of millionaires, you'd think, oh, but where do the rich people live? Well, they do have their own little secure neighborhoods, but a lot of people do live in communities like these, and it's just so cool passing through and seeing all the nice houses that aren't apartments. And we are approaching Jurong East. This is my second favorite place in Singapore, and it's just so cool and green and clean. In this big building that's coming up, it's actually one of my favorite buildings. I don't know why I like it so much. Like there's just nothing around it. It's just so plain and blue. But from the first day I saw it, I just fell in love with it. And so I'm glad that the bus took this route so I could see it. I don't know, don't you think it's cool? It's kind of like Beyonce's stage for that Formation tour. And so Jurong East is my beloved place. That mall right there has my favorite dollar store. So you can imagine why it's my favorite mall. And it also has like a rooftop bar or like a rooftop hangout spot. So it's really cool. It's called like Cube Mall at Jurong East. But this whole area has like 3 or 4 different malls, and they all serve a great purpose. And underneath that train there, it's like a beautiful hangout spot. Just sitting down and looking up at different trains. And here we are, arriving at Jurong East Station. This is a video with a lot of information, but I can spread them out and talk about different things at different times and explaining a few things. So I was getting off the bus and I wanted to film the whole bus, and I realized the guy was coming, so I had to like scramble to get out and I almost dropped my phone. Oh gosh. But yeah, that's just the double-decker bus, and here's me exiting, and it tells me my balance. And a lot of these big stations do have little shops where you can buy just emergency goods and some snacks. And another thing I like about Singapore is, you see this bus terminal here? Every number of a bus is up there, and it's scheduled and where to catch it. And it tells you which berth to go to, and it gives you sometimes the arrows. It's color coded, like you walk under your number, and when your bus comes, you just proceed and you leave. Thanks for watching. Till next time.